Yeah, well, we got the can. Mark, how did you do this? How did this happen? How did Jeff turn into your can? All of a sudden, the can became real, and here it
There
is.
he is. Look at
Oh,
that.
our wins and
Told
lessons.
you. It's me
That's
in
a win.
the flesh.
That's a win.
Welcome to the HPLS podcast. Live, relevant, and high performance information, conversations, and education weekly.
Woo.
Wow.
Boom. And here we
Oh.
are.
Yeah.
Here we are. Another week.
Yippee-ki-yay.
Another week. Some more lessons. Some more wins. And hopefully a lot of fun, y'all. Hopefully you guys crushed it this week. Hopefully everybody went with Dan's energy from Monday. We missed Dan this week, so Dan. Hopefully, shout out to Dan. We did. Everybody heads up. Dan is feeling a lot better. He did at least last night. He was pretty pumped. So I was glad to hear that.
Me too.
Jeff. Oh yeah, we got some good comments here. Good morning, Lisa.
Morning, Lisa.
And then we got morning, Lisa, and
Morning, Lisa.
morning, James. And James, I agree. Jeff looking like a rock star today. He looks like either a rock star or he's ready to tell somebody to make his day. But
Yeah, absolutely.
So Jeff, how was your trip yesterday?
Oh man, it was great. I was at the crab feast. They call it, not fest, at the Maryland Propeller Club. It was awesome, man. Of course, the crabs, they're Maryland, right? So they were the best. And then we had authentic crab cakes, and there was a plethora of service providers there. Old friends, guys that I haven't seen in a long time from Intermodal. And I mean, they had all different, from chassis providers, a ton of those, to freight forwarders, to all different types of different modals out there. And it was fantastic. It was a fun day, tiring day. And yes, after the feast was done, we had to head out to a bar. It was a bad idea, man. And it's for me, it's a 7.5 hour round trip. So it was a rough morning.
Yes. Well, how about the rest of your week, Jeff? How'd the rest of your week
Oh
go?
man, it was, you know what? It was good, and yesterday it was really funny because we started talking about, pumping people up and helping them and guiding them and mentoring them, everything. Well, I had the opportunity yesterday where I met up with a competitor, and her father handed her the business, but she's been in the business with her family for a long period of time, and they're very successful. And I asked her straight out, I said, hey, what differentiates you from your competitors, and what value do you bring to the table? And she was literally like this.
Frozen.
I never was asked that. I said, so when your salespeople go out there, what are their goals and objectives? What are their niches? Everything that we spoke about. And she's like, I'm stunned. I really never thought about that, And that was a win for me, because we're definitely going to further this conversation, because it lasted like 15, 20 minutes. And she was just like, you're right. It's just amazing when we talk, and then everybody else that joins in the conversation as we, asking questions and everything. It's so amazing that we're all on that same page. We want to get to those goals and objectives, and we fail to ask ourselves, what are the problems that we are having, ourselves, that we're afraid to ask, until somebody asks us. Yes. And then when you expose that, they're like, I don't know. I told her it's the hardest thing that I ever did was, what is the value? Even though I've been in the business for a long time, you just simply can't go on a piece of paper and just start writing it down in 5 minutes and have, have that mission or have that value right in front of you, just like that. It doesn't happen. It takes hours, maybe even a few days, because there's so much information you got to compile in such a small little pitch. It's unbelievable. Yep.
I love that you shared that. I love that you struck out that conversation with her too, and really helped her. Clearly, obviously, she's probably going to be reaching out. I'm sure you guys exchanged numbers and everything.
Yes, absolutely.
So she's going to be following up on you. Did you tell her she's got to watch the show? Did you tell her about the show?
Yes, I told her that. I did. I told her the name of the show and everything like that, and she was like, I got to check it out.
Oh, that's awesome, man. Well, that's good. That is a win. That is a win.
Yeah. And another guy, Thomas Rodriguez, he's from ARL Logistics, Dre guy. We became friends on LinkedIn and everything, and he watches the HPLS and the sales chatter and stuff like this. And then he introduced me to the EVP of ARL yesterday. He said, "This is the dude I was telling you about, who has this excellent podcast with Dan Deigan and DJ Flores, and it's awesome. You got to check it out." And I was like, he says it's good stuff, and I was like, man, I mean, it was just a really good day yesterday, and it I don't know. It's just the strangest things happen when you're trying to do good things, right? It's just,
oh my gosh, yes. Say that again. The strangest things happen when you do good things. It is so true. And you said something as well, not to monopolize the time, because I want to get to Mark, because Mark, we missed you. We missed you, Mark. But and I missed you, Mark. But really, you said something about we are all. You notice that we're all on the same page. We're all trying to do the same things. I think that's our biggest struggle as humans. We think that we're the only ones having this situation, this problem, these struggles, these challenges. But if we just open up to the people around us like you did and share a little bit, you'd be surprised on what you can give to them, but also what they can give to you as far as knowledge and information. So yeah. Oh man, I love that you shared that. Mark.
Mark.
How are you, man?
I'm doing all right. I'm just about surviving. I had a couple of beers too many last night, so
so
I like the Hawaiian shirt, Mark.
I love
this. This is going to be the Friday get up. Different one each week.
This is mine for Fridays.
I'm liking it. I'm trying to keep the summer going for as long as we possibly can. But Jeff, coming back to something you were just talking about with your new mentee there, the question that she probably would also maybe then struggle to answer is, what do you do? Because most people then, if you're at a cocktail party or if you're at an event like that where somebody comes up to you and says, "So what is it you do?" You've got that 30 seconds.
30 seconds.
And not necessarily even get into this is the value that we add. That's a slightly separate but following on scenario. And when I was asked that question, years and years and years ago, I 45 minutes later, I'm still giving you the answer. But by that time, people have they've just left, not just the room, they've left the country. They're just trying to get away as fast as they can. So, it's just having that literally 2 lines to fully explain this is what we do. And we engaged with, I'm looking way over there to my bureau. This is where I keep all my books. There's a guy, I read his book about a year and a half ago. And he gave an example of a message that he helped a guy that wanted to start a camera company. He wanted to be not just a photographer, but he wanted to be involved in all aspects of camera. And on his website, he had, we will educate you with the Nikon 365 220 XT2 that's going to do the laser sharp, yada, yada, yada. This was his thing. This guy then gets hold of him and he says, just bring it back to basics. And he now on his website, it says something like, we teach mums how to take great pics of their kids. That's it. And then all of a sudden, like his sales just went through the roof because people understood break it down to something incredibly simple so that people can understand it. So I wonder, like that's a excuse me, a long-winded way of making a comment that she probably would struggle with that question as well, Jeff. That might be something you want to approach her with.
Oh, absolutely.
So my mouth is moving, my brain is not engaged right now. Since moving to the US 7 years ago, my tolerance for having a few beers has gone dramatically downhill from being able to very coherently have 4 Guinness of a lunchtime with clients and operate heavy machinery in the afternoon. Not that was what I was doing. To now, like 2 beers and I'm completely comatose. And by the way, tomorrow. So this week, good week, because it's been a relaxing week. And why has it been a relaxing week? Because I listened to what we talked about on Friday's show last week about looking after yourself. Yeah. Like taking some time out for yourself. Yes. And so my family have been away this week. And so I suppose when they're, well, I don't suppose. I mean, obviously when they're back, I'm going to try and find some time as well to slow down. But this week I just did stuff for me. I slept in a little bit later. I was staying up a bit later than I probably would. I actually watched the movie this week. I can't remember what it was, but I know I watched the movie. So I had a lot of time for me this week. So I see that as a big win. And tomorrow is my 7th anniversary since moving to the US. No so I'll be celebrating that tonight on my own. Because the family,
hopefully you're feeling ready to it after last night. You said, right?
Oh yeah, a couple of beers, and
you'll be ready. You'll be ready.
I still like to find out how they let you in, Mark. I mean, seriously.
Honestly, dude, if you lie enough, then you can find your way in. It's pretty simple.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, there is
James nailed it, Jeff. If Jeff was wearing Mark's shirt with the hat and glasses he already is wearing, he would be unstoppable. Yes. With that
Mark,
hat
man, you
glasses,
got my address?
And that shirt, I would be scared to death of you, Jeff. Yes, he would be
James, man. No problem. I'll get that for you.
At least it says good for you, Mark. Yes, I agree.
Yes.
Yeah, just like I think that's like absolutely okay. And I certainly think back to the time when I worked in banks, particularly in the UK. I had an hour and a half's commute into the office, and most of that was on a train, and I had an hour and a half to 2 hours on the way home. And so in the morning, I'd be sitting on my BlackBerry at the time, just sending out emails, like just constantly keeping in touch with clients. And then in the office, and then you're working your day, and then on the way home, and I just felt like I was always on. Like I was checking emails on Christmas Day. Like no one's writing to me. Well, actually, my then boss at the time actually pinged me a couple of messages, but like, and I remember my wife saying to me, no one's going to die and the world is not going to explode if you just put that thing down for 10 minutes. And so we had this rule that when we were going away on vacation, it would get locked in a drawer at home. And then I found a way of, at that time, getting my work emails onto my personal phone. So I would then have, while we were traveling on vacation, I would have these things called FPBs. I would have fake pee breaks. So I would just go into a nearby bathroom and just like bash out as many emails as I could, to the point that I was doing that like 7 or 8 times a day, that my wife was saying, you should go and see a doctor. Like nobody pees that much. I'm like, oh no, it's the new climate. We're abroad. Must be something in the water. So I'm now really trying to listen to the advice that she gave me 15 years ago, which is just slow down. And I did it.
It's crazy what the women who try to protect us know, huh? That we don't.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm glad you shared that, and I will tell you, we have to be. Here's how I like to think of it. If you have something that's running at 50% production, even if it runs for 8 hours, you're getting only 50% of the production from it. So if you yourself, if you're feeling out of it, what is the reason to push yourself? Like, you got to be true to what you're feeling and take that break, like you said. So I'm glad you shared that, and I'm glad you're doing that, because you'll be surprised if you just take that day. I remember having this talk with even Ryan, but you take that day, maybe it's just a day. I mean, I do that quite often, actually. It's like, oh crap, for some reason today is just not the day. So I'm going to focus on me. I'm going to work on this. And I'm going to be ready tomorrow. But today I'm just going to, something is not right. And I think we need to listen to that a lot more. Man, I'm so glad you shared that.
I'm actually looking for, it was yesterday I was thinking this myself, and I was tired. I was a little bit tired yesterday as well, but I am forever combing through LinkedIn. Like, I feel like I'm checking it all the bloody time. And I said to myself yesterday, I can't wait for the day that I don't have to do this. And that sparked a memory of one of my buddies who's he's an FX trader, or he was an FX trader for many years. Worked in a number of trading floors. And I remember he just punched out. He moved out to Singapore, and he moved into IT. He moved out of foreign exchange trading into IT. And I said to him, like, dude, is that not, like, that's such a different way of life, like going from what you were doing to what you are doing now? And he's like, dude, there was not a second of the day that I wasn't looking at the news, looking at rates, like just like constantly he's got 7 screens in front of him. And he said, like, when I get up in the morning, the first thing I'm doing is reading the financial press. He said, I'm just like analyzing. And now, just overnight, that all went. He said, I didn't even check anything. And he said, it was an epiphany. He said, I should have done it years ago. I should have got out of the game years ago.
I heard.
You want to try to keep on top of your game, though. I mean, when you're so locked in and focused in what you do daily, by having those multiple screens, it kind of saves you time, because you're always going into the search, out of the search, into the search, and everything.
Yeah.
And let's face it, Mark. I know you pretty well. You're probably fixed on multitasking all the time because you've got stuff that's going on. You too, DJ, right? I mean, we're all multitasking, so why not make our lives a little bit more simpler by adding another monitor or whatever, because we have to do it. I mean, it's our job. It's not something that, we can easily just fold up and walk away and then come back 2 hours later. You're going to have a pretty upset customer, especially in logistics. It's like my wife. You mentioned about Christmas. I don't think that my wife and I had a Christmas together for the last 7 years. She's been working on Christmas, and she works on New Year's because she's in healthcare.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she works in healthcare. So, I guess it's kind of payback, because when I was always on the road and everything like that, I was never around either. It's part of the business. But I think what it comes down to is that when you do have that time with your loved ones and everything, make it special, make sure that, it's well worth it and you have a really good time, because, it's just a job that we have, and the more that we think on the positive side of it instead of the negative side of not being with the loved ones or being able to do this, I think it's going to help you in your career as well, if you can just move that off to the side, So you got to take time out for yourself. And I'm glad you did that, Mark.
100%. Yeah, I appreciate that, mate. And I think what we often fail to see is that what we do for a living is nothing more than a means of funding our bank accounts so that we can have a good time from 5 p.m. to 9 a.m. the next day. Notwithstanding your wife who works 24 hours a day in the healthcare. But, like, if you get what I mean. So, I've been very, very, very lucky and incredibly fortunate that I have, I think, in 31 years now of working, enjoyed almost every single day, bar a few. And so I'm really blessed at that. And when I've not really liked a job, then I've left and I've gone somewhere else. And I appreciate that not many people have that luxury, right? But I don't know. When I see these people on social media that like really wax lyrical about it's only the job and it's all about the customer. Yeah, the customers are important. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying here that they're not. But, like, I don't know. It just there's a facade about that just makes me think, like, I know what you're trying to say, I think, but I also think you've got, you know, it is about the 5 p.m. to 9 a.m. It's about the family time. And it, you know, that's always been in my mind. And yet I've failed to do it because of like working 24 hours a day myself. So if I put the, you know, screens away just for like an hour and just go for a walk around the block, my customers know that that's not a sign that I don't like them.
True.
And I think, you know, we're very fortunate that we get to pick and choose who we want to deal with. And if anybody wants to work with Green Shoots FX, they have to understand they become part of a small family, and that we all become friends. That means that you're going to get me WhatsApping you just to see how your family are, and I expect to WhatsApp back to see how my family is. So that's how we kind of mix.
Yes, sir.
I love that you said that, Mark. And to your guys' points of what you're talking about. Hold on, first I got to go to these comments because so this was Lisa's comment to you, Jeff, or to you, Mark. I've done that too. Talking about the FPBs, which maybe, or yes, FPBs.
Fake pee
that
breaks.
is hilarious. Fake bathroom breaks. I love it.
Yeah.
FPBs or
awesome.
Fake pee breaks.
Fake pee breaks.
But to your point,
breaks.
Brian Byro, I think that's the thing, guys. You know, we're all high achievers. Anybody who's watching the show, anybody who is, you're scouring LinkedIn, Mark, because you're just looking for the next opportunity. And we're all just, and we have the availability now with the phones and everything in front of us. We could not stop if that's who we are. But we can also not stop and just run ourselves right into the ground and right into not waking, you know, starting the next day. And so I think being very self-aware of how you're feeling and what's going on. But then Brian Byro, you know, he talks about really going after the window of opportunity. And I think it's, you know, if we are 2 hours with our kids, but we're also, and our family is 2 hours of family time, but we're not putting away the phone, like you're saying, putting away everything and just giving that focus, then we're not really there. And a half hour of just full, this is their time, this is that time. I've seen a lot of Grant Cardone, you know, and a lot of guys have given their schedules. I don't know whose is real or not, but again, it's just whatever that time is and dedicating that time to just that. So like your idea of putting away the phone, putting away those things and just being super focused in that moment. I think if we do that with customers, if we do that with family, if we do that with ourselves, that person in front of you at that moment is the most important person and nothing else even matters. And if we could just get to that point, they will feel that, your customer will feel that, your family members will feel that. And it doesn't matter if it's 15 minutes or it's 2 hours, it's going to be impactful.
I think the problem with that, DJ, is that I don't think our customers feel that way. I think it's more of our family that feels that way, not the customer, because that's what we're focused on all the time. It's like they're first and foremost, right? I think our family suffers more than the customer can even imagine. I mean, when you think about that, because you're so focused, you know, you want to get this, you want to get this new client, you want to talk to this prospect, and you just focus so much in it. I mean, I fail at that too. I mean, I'm human and, you know, I care about my business. I care about my customers. I do care about my family, and I try to do what I possibly can, but I always find myself getting distracted because I'm always thinking of what's the next best thing for my customer? What's this? What's that? You know, and I think we all have that problem. And Mark, you're right. DJ, you're right. You know, we really need to just, you know, take this god awful thing, you know. You ever see that? You know what? Perfect example. You ever see that Corona commercial, and the guys are like laying on their chairs, looking out at the water, and they've got a cocktail next to them. You know, they've got shirts on like Mark, and the guy just takes his phone and he throws it into the ocean, right? Or
I think that's a Corona commercial, but yes, I know the commercial.
He takes his what's his name's thing and puts it into the glass and sinks it, and he goes, you know what? You're right, dog, or something like that, right? that's like a perfect example. That's what we really need to do, is just forget about our phones for an hour or two or whatever and just be in the moment. But
be in the moment. Yes. Seize the moment. You have to seize every moment that you can, because you don't know when you're going to get you next.
Yeah, that's
Daman, what I've noticed is there's many people who want their cake and want to eat it too. Yes. The cake is the income they're making and aren't willing to sacrifice the money to hire an assistant to help them to get their time back. In the long term, if you can, I hate that this cuts us off. If you can sacrifice some of the income now, you can hire that assistant, make additional income, plus have the time in the future. Daman, I love that you said that, because
Absolutely.
I think that's the hardest struggle, especially for anybody. Well, we all are managing our book of business, and that's when I was strictly managing mine. Daman, I actually took that advice from the brokerage that I was with before. I hired an assistant to just manage I actually gave up 50% of my income for that time, because the time to kind of work on some other things and just have that was well worth doing that. So yeah, I agree completely. It's just that fear of the unknown. The fear of the unknown is so it'll lock you in your steps. And so you don't know with hiring somebody, like, oh man, but that's part of my income going there. Is this going to work out? And boom, it stops people right there. And I think that's the big thing. You just got to try.
You're right. But the thing is like, I'm in the process of doing that right now, because we're starting to get over inundated. And I know that there is a certain level that I can only handle, my partner can only handle, but it's one of the best problems to have. It really is. It's like, oh shit, what am I going to do now moment, But now the thing is that have someone else hire that person for you on the admin side to do your track and trace and all of this when you get to that level, that plateau. And I have a lot of connections and friends who are exactly in that business that I can introduce anyone to. So if you get into that bind and you need some help on that, reach out to me and I'll gladly give you several connections that I have that is their niche, finding those exact logistics, supply chain, admin people that will fill that seat and do a damn good job.
Yes. And Lisa says, took many years to take that jump and hire help, unknown and letting go out of the control. Yeah, that's the biggest thing. I mean, it's fear, guys. And it's mostly this. Most of the stuff that we're so afraid of as humans only happens here. It never even actually happens in our existence or in real time. We just think it. But that's I just watched a video and I wasn't going to bring it up, but now I will, because it kind of ties to that. Alex Ramosi talks about Charlie Munger, I think is his name, but talked about I forget what he called it, but thinking and basically flipping and saying. So he gave a video of how to be poor and unsuccessful. 28 tips on how to be poor and unsuccessful. And the reason he did that at the end, then he gave the tips on how to do it, but he gave the tips on how not to, because our brain is easier to find the problems or what's going to happen bad than what's going to happen good. So if we attack, to stay unsuccessful and poor, I just do the same thing that I'm doing every single day. Yeah, you're staying successful and poor. But and it's easy to do those things. It's just this thing, man. This right here. This will get you.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Let's
see.
We're only trapped in life when we can't. Daman says we're only trapped in life when we can't get out of our own mind. Yeah. See, in the real world, there's a million choices. In our minds, is where we feel stuck. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm sure. I'm gonna just take a guess. Like when Damon started his business and stuff like that, it wasn't easy for him, and he had to wrap his head around it. And he got to that point where he had to say, you know what, we got to get some quality people in here, and we're gonna do justice so my business can grow exponentially, whatever that may be. But we're all going to get to that point. If we work hard enough and we focus in not just on the business, but on our families as well, we'll all be successful and we'll get what we want. But we have to do it together and collaborate and talk to our competitors and find the best practices that we can all use to move the peanut forward.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Do you feel, let me throw a question out. I know we're up on time. Do you both feel as though like now this current environment time wise versus say 5 years ago and 10 years ago, that there's a lot more collaboration, that you find that there are more people that are willing to reach out and help you versus stepping on you from 10 years ago?
Can I answer this there, DJ?
Yeah, go ahead.
You know, I laugh about this. I laugh about this, and I'm still stumped, and I can't answer you more like truthfully. But collaboration has been around for a long time, for over 30, 35 years. That's all I knew how to do it. It was the only way to do business, to get everybody on the same page. You know, your carrier, your customer, yourself as a service provider. And then all of a sudden, over the last 5 years, I started seeing, and I mean, there's podcasters that have a little block that says collaboration on the back of it. You read collaboration all the time. The biggest question that I had, and I still do, is why now? You know, why is that such an important, and why the hell didn't you do that from way back when? I mean, you can't do logistics or supply chain without collaboration. So how the hell did you get to where you are now without doing it? You know, I mean, it's guys, collaborate every day of the week. It doesn't have to be just with your customers, with people. You know, I mean, if you're an independent and you're working in your house by yourself, you have nobody to answer to, but you should reach out to a competitor. You should reach out to somebody that can mentor you. Like if you were in the office and you were going to ask your boss something about your particular problem, man, do that. I mean, don't feel like, oh, I'm going to give up my secrets and all of this bullshit. Reach out and start talking to freaking people, man. Collaboration, you have to do it. And yes, Mark, the short answer to that is yes. You hear it a ton now, and it's just a shame that this hasn't been doing, because just imagine if everybody started doing it 10, 20 years ago, where the supply chain logistics industry would be if everybody at that time got on the same page. I still shake my head at it.
Yeah.
I love your answer, Jeff, and I got an answer too. Mark, I'm going to get to Damon's comments, and then we will wrap this up too. So Daman says, to answer your question, Jeff, first year of business, zero salary, then 500 per month, slowly 1,000 per month, and then some. The money was invested back into people in the business.
Yes.
That's the only way to grow.
That's it, man. That's it.
I love it. Thank you for sharing that, Daman. 100% right, Jeff. Yes, you are. So my answer to that, Mark, is I've heard this quote a few times. I'm sure a lot of people have heard this, but weak times create strong men. Strong men create good times. Good times create weak men. And it's just a cycle that we go through. I think right now collaboration is more crucial than anything, because our strong times have created a lot of weak men and that power and a lot of greed. And I think that there's not so much collaboration going on and more me. And social media showed that. A lot of things have showed that. And it's sad, but that's where you're going to hear a lot more. I think that's going to be, I've heard this on Giant, which is a great coaching platform if you guys haven't heard of it, but they talked about it. This is the time for collaborators. This is the time that it's going to be all about collaboration and people who connect with others, not the people who are just to themselves and for themselves. They are not going to have any chance in the environment that we have created because of the good times and the weak men. We need the strong men to come back and create good times again. And women. Strong men. Yes, men and women. Again, just to say, yes, this is all people. But yes. And so that's what I think it is. I think we are going to see collaboration is going to be bigger than ever. It's going to be the key to changing the supply chain, the economic layout of the world, and just the world itself. So yeah, just keep connecting, everybody. That's all I can say. Don't be afraid to collaborate and help somebody else.
Let me say one thing real quick, okay?
Yeah.
And this will put the cherry on top. You probably gone to seminars, ADA or whatever, you name it, they're all over the countries about logistics and supply chain. So why are you waiting to go to these seminars to hear people talk about best practices and everything, and you're going like maybe once, twice a year to these seminars and stuff? It's the same thing as reaching out to a competitor or a friend to ask the same question. Why do you have to wait for a freaking seminar to hear from the professionals and the experts in the field that you want to learn more about it? Reach out to them prior to that. It's the same damn thing. Don't be scared. If you can show your face up to one of these seminars, you can surely reach out on the phone and make a phone call and saying, hey, I read something in LinkedIn. Maybe you could help me out. I have this problem. Boom. I mean, it's the same damn thing. So why are you waiting, man? Go and do it.
Yes.
Oh. Very passionate, Jeff. Love it.
I love it. Great. Thank you for the question, Mark. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Now is the time for collaboration, everybody. We don't rise by ourselves. We rise together. So we all need to do this together. That's the only way. But hey, thank you guys for joining. Thank you for this week. Hopefully you guys killed it this week. Hopefully this was the week that turns everything around for everybody. Again, Sales Chatter Live, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 9:30. Start your day right here with us. Get in the right mindset to just seize the moment. Again, seize those moments. Whatever moments you're in, whatever moments you have, just be there, be present, and watch how it changes you more than anybody else. A great quote. I got this. I kind of got this from a guy I have conversations with, Chris Arrington. Shout out to you, man. But this quote was from him, and I'm not really sure where he got it from, but I loved it so much I wrote it down, and I was waiting to use this thing. You are a hi or hello away from changing someone's life. Don't miss it. That someone may be you.
Boom.
Love it.
Yes.
Have a great week, guys. My mouse stopped working, so we're not frozen.
I thought we were going to go nicely into the end credits.
Yeah, I know Mark was waiting for the transition, and it didn't happen. Have a great week. Have a great weekend, y'all. Happy Friday.
Centurion Trucking, our motto is people before profit. Today's market requires more transparency, consistency, and focus on what our clients need to win. Centurion Trucking and American Logistics are poised to help their clients achieve and surpass their targets. If you're looking for a team that honors your needs, dreams, and aspirations, then get a hold of Daman at American Logistics or Centurion Trucking and start designing your career today.